What's going on, investors? My name's Emmanuel, and one of my favorite quotes from arguably one of the best investors of all time, Peter Lynch, is this: selling your winners and holding your losers is like cutting the flowers and watering the weeds. So with that said, we are taking a look at all things Workhorse. Now, full disclosure, I am a Workhorse shareholder and I do have a vested interest in the success of Workhorse. And I also have multiple stock analysis videos on Workhorse, which I will link in the description below. You can check them out if you haven't already. Now, if you did invest in Workhorse around the time when I posted my first video, then you would still be sitting in some delicious, juicy profits right now, because so am I. I mean, a few days ago, I was up over 80%. However, how things have changed, right? Workhorse suffered a disgusting pullback on Tuesday, dropping over 11% in a single day of trading. And guess what? It completely collapsed even further yesterday. It was down over 15%. And of course, the messages have started to roll in on Facebook and on Instagram as to why this is happening. And the follow-up question is whether now's the time to sell up, take their profits and run. Now, I can't provide you with any financial advice, but I have been doing some digging around. And in this video, I do want to address this straight on and share my thoughts with you regarding what has been taking place over the last few weeks. Because there has been a ridiculously overwhelming amount of day trading volume, which has absolutely had a negative impact on the share price of Workhorse. And Workhorse shareholders need to be made aware of this, because I don't see anyone talking about it. And with that, you can then make an informed decision as what to do. So as well as that, I do want to touch on some insider selling that has also been taking place by some key figures within the Workhorse industry. And I do want to identify their motives for selling. And since we are on the topic of selling, when is the best time to actually sell? And to answer that, I will refer to chapter 17 from One Up on Wall Street by Peter Lynch. If you haven't got this book, check it. It's the links in the description below. Grab yourself a copy, because he addresses when the best time to sell is. And I also want to take a sneak peek into what Ark Invest are currently doing, because as we all know, they are big Workhorse investors. And lastly, I'll be revealing what I am currently doing with my Workhorse position. We are going deep in today's video, and I will try to remain as unbiased and as realistic as I possibly can. But before we do dive into today's video, don't forget to destroy that like button, because it will help get this video out to more Workhorse investors who may be panicking right now and they need a solution. Also, if you are new to the channel, then hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with all my stock analysis content, as well as any major stock related news. So with all that said, stay locked in, watch until the end, guys. It's very important, and let's dive into today's video. Now, before we jump into the meat of the video, I want us to quickly review the price action, because that will help set the scene. So if you're looking at Workhorse from a short-term perspective, then it looks terrible. Look, no doubt about it. It looks dreadful. It's awful. It's down 15% today. But from a 5-day point of view, it's actually down 11%. But when you look at Workhorse from a 1-month point of view, then you can see that it's actually up over 38%. And things start to really fall into perspective. It no longer looks as grim as it did on the shorter time frames. And looking at the stock from a 6-month point of view, it's unrealistic. It's absolutely unbelievable. But there is good reason for that, which is what we're going to get into in this video. However, it's up over 1,000% in just 6 months. Madness. That's crazy. But one thing I do want to stress to investors is that it helps to avoid focusing purely on short-term price action. And I will say that it's always best to look at the bigger picture, because things do become much clearer. So with that said, those who invested in Workhorse 6 months ago or even a month ago are still sitting in some amazing profits right now. However, the people who invested recently, in particular those who bought in at $30 a share, are the ones that are truly feeling the impact of this current crash. But there could also be a solution, and I wouldn't panic sell just yet. So seeing as we're on the topic of price action, let's take a look at Workhorse's recent trading volumes and see how it compares to its peers. Now, before we dive in, In order for you to identify a stock's trading volume, I use Yahoo Finance, and that volume information is located just below the 52-week low range. Now, I found an interesting article that was published a few weeks ago regarding Workhorse's recent average trading volume, and I personally think the author hit the nail on the head. He identified that Workhorse, who only has 82 employees, but remember, we are in the process of hiring 200 more, but Workhorse trades 8 times more shares per day than UPS or FedEx. And the article also highlighted that the average trading volume of Workhorse greatly surpasses Facebook's trading volume. Now, considering Facebook has a $708 billion market cap versus Workhorse's $2 billion market cap, that is pretty insane. And you can't argue that fact. But what does huge average day trading volume, especially on a small company the size of Workhorse, what does that actually mean? Well, it indicates that the stock price is being propped up and is possibly heavily reliant and influenced on these day trading activities. Now, day traders typically don't have any loyalty to a company. In fact, I used to be a day trader myself, and your number one goal is to make money. Period. That's it. That's all you care about as a day trader. They don't really care if the company succeeds or if the company crashes and burns. They have an absolute zero care in the world for the company. As long as the trade is going in the direction that they predicted, they make money. And that's literally all they care about. Now, contrary to us who are shareholders, who are investors, we have a vested interest in the success of the companies that we invest in. So when the company, grows its revenues each year and each quarter, and the company is also growing its earnings, every quarter it's growing its earnings, it improves the balance sheets, it grows its cash position and cash equivalent positions, whilst also reducing its debt. And it also has a solid current ratio and positive free cash flows. All the things that we long-term investors look for. All of these factors combined will automatically attract more long-term investors, who will purchase shares, and the price will organically begin to rise. The price will organically go up. Whereas in Workhorse's instance, yes, we do have some awesome catalysts, such as, the recent strategic Hitachi partnership deal, the potential $8 billion USPS contract that we're still waiting on news on. We have a good stake in Lordstown Motors. Also the fact that the company is ramping up on hiring more staff. These are all great catalysts, and there are so many more that we can touch on. But the fact is, Workhorse has terrible financials. Put the catalysts aside, we are not an incredibly attractive company for investors just yet. However, for day traders, they love companies with strong growth catalysts. And day traders have been buying Workhorse shares like crazy because it's been a hot stock. I mean, day traders across the globe are sending out buy Workhorse alerts. And because I used to be a day trader, I still actually receive some of these buy and sell alerts. And for the past few weeks, Workhorse has been pretty much on the top of their list. So a large amount of day traders have contributed to artificially propping up the share price of Workhorse. And it's evidenced in the unbelievable 6 months growth of Workhorse, over 1,000%. Now, what do you think will happen when day traders start to find the next hot stock, or perhaps the next hot EV stock? Just throwing a name out there, possibly a company called SPI Energy, which soared more than 4,000% in a single day of trading. Well, like I said, day traders have no loyalty. They just try to make money and could also care less about the company or the stock. So, of course, they sell their shares, they take their profits and move on to the next hot stock. And of course, what do you think will happen to the share price of the company that we invested in, particularly when there's more sellers than buyers? Of course, the price crashes. And this is why I believe this is fundamentally the key reason for Workhorse's recent price crash. Day traders taking their profits and moving on to the next hot stock. All right, investors. Now, I do want to touch on some key insider selling that has been taking place. You had the CEO, Dwayne Hughes, who sold 50,000 shares, but still has a considerable amount of shares left. Chess Raymond sold 4,000 shares. Fleming Stephan also sold 50,000 shares, and Ackerson Gregory sold 10,000 shares. And to be honest, there are many reasons why insiders will sell their positions, and insider selling shouldn't be an indicator for us to sell in the first place. But the fact that the CEO Dwayne Hughes still holds a considerable amount of Workhorse shares leads me to believe that in this instance he had to sell due to the Rule 10b5-1. And if you're not familiar with that particular rule, then there's a ton of information regarding it on Investopedia, so please read up on it and do your own due diligence. However, rumors have been circulating that the CEO is selling, key insiders are selling, and of course that's enough to also spook investors. Now let's also review what Ark Invest are currently doing with their Workhorse position. In my Workhorse stock analysis video, which was posted on the 14th of July, I revealed that Ark Invest had begun investing in Workhorse, and at the time it was in 35th position of their ARKQ fund, and they held only 186,000 shares. Now fast forward to today, and Workhorse is now in 17th position, and they currently hold 649,000 shares. So clearly, Ark Invest have been buying Workhorse heavily since July, which is a clear indicator that they truly do believe in this business. And I'm not going to lie, it does provide me with some reassurance, but I will also say, and I must stress, because Ark Invest are buying shouldn't mean that you should buy also. Or does it? No, I'm playing. You have to do your own due diligence and your own analysis, like we always say, before you decide to buy or sell any stock. So with all that said, is now the best time to sell Workhorse? That's the main question. That's what I've been getting a lot of questions from. And like I said, it's in this book. We're going to chapter 17, One Up on Wall Street. If you haven't got this book, the link is in the description below. Please get it. But it states, if you know why you bought a stock in the first place, you will automatically have a better idea of when to say goodbye to it. And that's pure facts. I've invested in multiple stocks, and a few months later, the stocks are in the red by 15-20%. And I simply review my buy thesis. And if the buy thesis is still in place, then I hold or I buy more. So I urge you investors, before you panic sell, please revisit your buy thesis in Workhorse. And if the fundamentals are still in play, then you've pretty much answered your own question. Now, what will I be doing? Personally, I am going to be holding my Workhorse position. And I will consider buying more, especially if the price drops below my average price of $17 a share. But for now, I'm holding on to my Workhorse stocks and I'm not selling. So investors, I hope you found that video extremely informative, and I hope I was able to break down some of your concerns and maybe settle a few nerves, and also explain to you why I think that Workhorse has been having this huge sell-off. Like I said to you, day traders, they're just trying to make that moolah, man. They're just trying to make that money. They have no loyalty to the company. There has been massive day trading volumes, like I've already showed you. As a result of all the day trading, we are suffering a heavy setback, and we are paying for it now. But with all that said, make sure you do your own due diligence before you do decide to invest in any stock or sell any stock. I've said it before and I will say it again. I am not a financial advisor. Please view my content as purely educational and not investing advice. And if you do want to learn about investing in stocks, there are some useful links in the description below, so please check it out. Plus, my broker Trading 212 will send us both a free share if you sign up using the link in the description below. With all that said, don't forget to smash the like button, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you want to see more content from me. Thank you so much for watching. Don't panic sell, review your buy thesis, and I'll see you in the next one.